Hey everyone! So in this video, I want to expand more on what was already said in the lectures as well as the pre-recorded video about Cypress and UI testing. I'm gonna show you how to write a happy path as well as how to write some test cases for end-to-end testing. But before we jump into the code, I've made up this application here which I'll be using in the demonstration. There's a few things that I want my test for a happy path to do. First, I want to check if it navigates to the home page. Then I want it to try logging in successfully, upload a file successfully, and finally log out successfully. So just to give you a quick overview of how that looks like, we have our home page, which we will then try to log in by clicking the login button, filling out some example inputs, clicking the login button, which logs us in successfully. And now that we are on the dashboard, we are going to try and upload a file successfully. And as you can see, we have uploaded our picture correctly, and now I want to try logging out. So now that we have all that down, let's jump right into the code. So what I have here is the login form. And notice how I've given my inputs names. This will come in handy later on when we are trying to select the inputs using Cypress. So taking a look at our package.json, we don't currently have Cypress installed, but we can change that real quickly by using yarn add Cypress. And now with Cypress installed, we can go ahead and modify our scripts a little bit just so it's easier for us to open Cypress later on. And now all we have to do to start up Cypress is use the command run yarn Cypress. So when you first run Cypress open in your project, you'll get this display here. And all you have to do is come over here, click end-to-end testing, which will then configure these files for you. And as you can see from the left bar of our VS Code, it has nicely created this Cypress file for us here. So if we go back to Cypress, click continue, and choose a browser. So the default browser that we'll be using in our marking is Chrome, so I highly recommend you start the testing thing in Chrome. And all you have to do is to create your test. And all you have to do to create a new test file is just to click this create new empty spec. And let's rename this file to something more meaningful. So I'm gonna say user flow. Run the specs. And as you can see here, it generated a file, an example file called userflow.cypress.js, and it gave us a really simple test case, which if you open up here, when you open up here, it runs the test and it says it passed. So now we want to modify this test so that it actually represents our happy path. So I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna say describe a test, a user's happy path. Okay, so now what do I want it to do first? Well, I think before every test starts, it should navigate to a certain URL, right? So in this case, it should navigate to the home screen. And then we are just gonna do a simple check for our URL such that it should include our URL. Okay, and now when we go back to our Cypress test and rerun the test, it pauses. So we are currently on localhost 3000 at the /index. Next, what do we want it to do? We want it to navigate to the login screen. So it what we want to do is we actually want to get this button. What we want to do is actually get this button, the login button, and we want to click it such that it redirects us to the login page. So taking a look at our login form, taking a look at our navigation bar, I've given the login button a name of login button. So we can come over here and say, I want to get the button with the name and what do I want to do after I get this name? I want to click on the button and this should redirect us to the login page, but just to be sure, we are also going to check that our URL should include our localhost address, but also it should contain our login index. Okay, let's check on Cypress again. So rerun the test. We can see that we've ended up on the login screen. Cool, that's what we want. Next, we want it to actually log in successfully by filling in the forms. So it should log in successfully by filling in some forms. Okay, so looking at the form, we have a couple of inputs. We have a input for email and password. And notice how I've given both of these the names, like respective names. So this one for the email has the name of email, and this one for the password has the name of password. And we also have this button to submit, which I've given the name of submit. So I want to get my input with the name of email, and I want it to focus on this input. And now we're going to type in our email. So let's say there's some random email. And we want to do the same thing for our password field. And then password. Cool, now that that's done, we are going to try to select our button and make it click. Get a button with the name of submit. And what do I want it to do? I want it to click. And now let's see if that works. Cool. and we are now on the dashboard. But just to be sure, we can also check that our URL should include our local host with the index of dashboard. Cool. Now that we're actually on the dashboard, we want to upload an image. But how do we do that? So we need to first click on this, and then we actually need to select the file, right? But luckily, I've already got a file set up here in my source assets and this cute little Shiba pig. So we're gonna try to upload this. So I want to write a test case that it should upload a file successfully. Okay, so now that we're on the dashboard, we want to get the input. So let's take a look at dashboard and see what name I've given this input. Okay, I've given the name, I've given the input the name of image. So we're gonna select that. So input name image. And to upload a file, I am gonna use the select file method from Cypress. And I'm gonna give it the relative path name to my image. Okay, that's that should be fine now. Let's check that again. Oh, as you can see here, we're filling in the stuff, uploading, and 1 second later, our Shiba pig pops up. Okay, that looks good. So now let's try logging out. It should log out successfully. So coming back here, we have this logout button, which should be in our navigation bar. I've given name of logout button, so we're gonna use that. So I'm gonna get our button with the name logout button. And then I'm gonna click on it, and just to make sure that it actually ends up at the correct place, I'm gonna check the URL, and it should include our local host, but just the /index. Okay, now that that's done, let's check our Cypress and make sure everything's working. Okay, cool. Before that, there is actually something that I would like to check as well. So if we come over here, if we try to log in again and upload our Shiba pig, you'll notice that there's a delay before the Shiba picture actually pops up for preview. And so just to be extra pedantic and also to like check whether our picture actually renders, we're gonna try to select this container, and we're gonna check if that image is actually there. So in our dashboard, I have this image tag here that only renders if both states are true. So I'm gonna come over here. So I'm gonna go over to my user flow, and in this test case here, it should upload a file successfully. I'm also gonna check that Did I give this image a name? Yes, I did. I give it a name of image preview, which we're gonna use here. So I have this, I'm gonna check if that image tag is actually there. And then just to be safe, I'm gonna check that it should actually be there. Okay, now we can go back to Cypress and we're gonna see if it works. Oh, it doesn't. Let's see what's happening here. So it says that it expected our image tag to be visible, but then it says that it timed out after retrying after 4 seconds. Okay, so this is what's happening. So whenever a test case runs in Cypress, there is a limit to how long a test case will run for. In this case, it timed out after 4 seconds. And that's not what we want, because sometimes like our image might be loading a little bit slow, our promise may not be resolving in time, our fetch may not be passing us back the data in time. And so when this happens, our UI testing will obviously fail because the test will just time out. So what we can do to get around this is by using the wait method. So I'm gonna come over here, Cypress, and basically what I'm gonna do in this wait method is I'm gonna specify a certain amount of time that I want my test to pause for before executing the next line. So in this case, I want it to wait for approximately 6,000 milliseconds or 6 seconds. And so if we come back to Cypress, we can see that we've uploaded our, if I run this again, we can see that we've uploaded our image. It's taking a while to render, and now it's rendered, and while we were waiting, it rendered, and then the test was able to continue successfully. So that's basically it for the process of writing a happy path.